welcome to GM Talks. Today I'm gonna show you a very strong Grandmaster concept, playing against pieces. This is something that all Grandmasters do all the time, and when you're playing against a very strong Grandmaster, you suddenly realize your pieces don't have the usual scope or ability to do something, and that's on purpose. So today we're gonna go into this concept, and in a very recent game played yesterday in Praggnanandhaa in the Tata Steel tournament. Praggnanandhaa, one of my favorite players, is leading the tournament with 3.5 out of 4, and here he manhandles another Indian youngster, Luke Mendonca, in a very, I think, instructive way. It's time to look at some serious chess, especially with the way the world is at the moment. We are very anxious here in Denmark because some guy just took office over there and is saying he wants to buy 98% of our country, and nobody told him it's not for sale. I don't know what's going on here. We used to be allies, and now he says he threatens with tariffs and all sorts of stuff if we don't give him our country. Well, this is about chess. So, Praggnanandhaa, Praggnanandhaa is white against Luke Mendonca. E4. This will be in the all moves explained category. E4, good move, open for the bishop, open for the queen, takes place in space in the center, and so on. And black does the same, also open for the queen, the bishop, takes place in the center, develops a knight, attacks the pawn, develops a knight, defends the pawn, develops a bishop, attacks the knight that defends the pawn, and a6. It turns out it's not really threatened because you can easily get the pawn back. So the bishop moves, develops a knight, attacks a pawn, and I think here Luke was actually looking to take the pawn and play the open Spanish. I think he does that a lot. So after something like castle, he would have taken on e4, and we would have a open Spanish. And I think that Praggnanandhaa thought that Luke knows this very well, but I'm not sure he will be up for a maneuvering Spanish game. So d3. This is also something that Nepomniachtchi and Carlsen does sometimes to avoid too much theory. No open Spanish, and we will have a d3 Spanish where black can choose whatever he likes. So black can choose whatever setup he wants now. You can put the bishop on e7, you can put the bishop on c5, or he can play g6 and put the bishop here. It's all good. Nothing is bad. d3 cannot be that threatening, but on the other hand, we will get a typical situation. b5 is sort of the most aggressive way to handle the position, saying just we have a new Arcangel system where white has played d3 and will later have to lose a tempo with c3 and d4. It's not that serious because the position is a little bit slow going, so one tempo is not that important necessarily. It's more how you get your pieces to go. And white continues with the developing the bishop and attacking the pawn, and black immediately asks the bishops about its whereabouts, if you want to go, or you want to go back. It's often a good idea to ask immediately. And here, if for instance black did not like what's coming, he could say, okay, the bishop is here, it's not the perfect place, so I can just go back. He didn't do that. Instead, he said, okay, I play this, and this is also the known way of playing for black. So c3, we have a normal position where white has just played d3, which really cannot be that optimal. Bishop b6 is also a normal move, sidestepping d4 before it arrives. The bishop usually has to be on this square. And a4, this is the downside with these pawns here. And rook b8 is also the standard way, stepping out of the flame from the rook. He takes, also, and you have to take back, and plays knight a3. Notice none of them have castled yet, but the best move here for black is definitely I think to play t5, bishop d3, and say, okay, no matter what, he's not going to castle on this side, right? He's simply not going to castle on this side. So on the queen side. So I can live with this. This is a very standard position, probably slightly better for white, but nothing special. Taking this pawn is probably dangerous. There will be a lot of counterplay in the b file, and I think black should be okay here. If not, then the whole setup with b5 and bishop b3 is bad. Instead, he played b4, which looks very natural. If you takes, you'll have a bad structure, and you defend the pawn. The problem is that this bishop is now, and this is one of the things you struggle with in the Archangle. You struggle with that bishop that it sometimes it cannot really move. It's dominated by the pawns, and at the same time you don't want to, for instance, if you're to take here, you really don't want to have to take back the pawn, so you have to take back to the rook to keep your structure intact. So it needs attention, but also you cannot put it here because then it has to be covered by this knight and so on. So it's a little bit tricky. You don't want to put it here because then it will be hit by d4 and so on. So already I like white a little bit more than black here. Take, but on the other hand, how bad can it be? We have an almost symmetrical pawn structure, and okay, this bishop is a little bit weird, but the rest is fine. And castle also natural, and castle also natural. And here black plays king h8, natural move. It's probably a preparation for g5. So if white was to take, you take and you play rook g8. It's a good way of defending against this pin that could arrive here. You simply attack the bishop and take it, no matter what. Okay, king h8. Bishop a4, tricky little move, and here black makes a mistake that will make this bishop much worse. Here he had to solve the problem. One of the only problem black really have in the Spanish, or Ruy Lopez as some call it, is that this knight is here blocking this pawn. So here black had to accept that, okay, I have to redeploy the knight, and he played bishop d7. He should have played this move, and accepting that this one is here, but here black is not, if white can't really exploit it. The only problem with this pawn structure is usually these squares, and it will not be easy to exploit that. The bishop will be out of the game here, the rook will come in, maybe f5, you'll probably have to cover the pawn, but also the knight here can also be quite good. Black is probably okay here, even though it looks really ugly. It's temporary, and this is something you really. So probably black is more or less fine here. I'd probably prefer to be white, but it's not something serious. But he makes this move, and this looks so natural, right? It looks really, really, really natural. Unfortunately, it's quite bad because this pin is really, really annoying for black because the pins play together, and black is actually under much more problems that it seems, because suddenly this bishop can't move, the knight can't move because you take something and so on. Because if, for instance, here it was black to move, you play something like this, and you take here, and queen will have to take back, and you take this one and play knight here, then this is a serious problem with this square on f5. Rook b1, just annoy the bishop. The bishop really don't want to go to somewhere else, but you don't want to allow this move spoiling your, destroying your pawn structure. d5, natural move, need to get rid of that pin, but of course it does weaken the king. Bishop d3, bishop a7, also very natural move. Rook a1, so black provoke and bishop goes back, and now rook e1. And we see this bishop is on what you call a bad circuit. At some point, white will combine some kind of threat against this bishop with something else, and it will be very annoying. At the moment, white is lining up for d4 without allowing knight takes e4. Black decides that he had enough of this really annoying pin here, and plays knight e7, and white just decides to dominate the bishop, plays d4, and bishop take, rook takes, and take, and the problem is you don't really want to take, but on the other hand, you can't really defend because there are too many people attacking you here. And this is something, so you have a bishop out of the game here, you have a bad structure here, so black is in trouble at the moment. And this guy, and it's hard to see what black did wrong, right? He was just playing along, normal moves, bishop b6, bishop d7, d5, knight e7, and so on. And suddenly his position looks really bad. This is the sign of the really strong player. e5, really also nasty. And we are playing around this guy here. So if, for instance, he was to take here, he would take, I think, with the knight, something like this, and followed by h4 and a great attack. And this bishop is just out of the game, and white has a serious attack in this situation. You can't really play this because and so on. It's all bad. So he plays this move, and this loses a pawn. But I think it's probably the best move because, or maybe it should probably go here, at least to threaten to jump here. Because after this, white wins a pawn. If you take back, bishop takes, and after this move, d takes c7. Okay, winning a pawn, intermediate move, typical grandmaster tactics, and take back. So white won a clear pawn. This bishop is still out of the game and still not really dominated by this pawn, and the a file is a problem, and so on. It's just annoying. And knight f5, of course, we got some squares on the king side, and there's no reason not to use that. And at the same time, the rook defends here, nasty position, very difficult. Queen d7, queen a1, powers up the d file, and of course I always like X-ray effects on the black king. King goes, and rook hassle the bishop, and again, and it goes, and rook a7, and you see this bishop is just sort of homeless because there's no real, well, if it could somehow crawl into d7, it would be out of the way and at least attack the pawn. At the moment, it's just a tactical weakness, and we see it again here. Problems, and d5, very strong move. And then basically, and there's just if you take this one, there's just this one, and this one is gone, or this one depends on what you choose to lose. So just clearly winning doesn't work. Rook takes, queen takes, and again queen takes. Knight e3 is the problem. No, queen takes c7. So rook a8 and queen d4 and just push. Again, the bishop is more in the way, and this bishop has basically been determining all white's game. And here's the thing about playing against pieces. When you play against pieces like the unlucky fella here, when it becomes bad, it tends to make the whole position rot. If you have like a real bad piece that has no scope or possibilities, it just sort of goes all the way a position, and it becomes unplayable. And this is basically what happened for black here. Of course, it's completely lost now. Just pushing. And even though he's a strong player, Mendonca, this is just bad. And queen e4, knight e5 is coming. It's coming here. Nowhere to, and yeah, double attack. And rook d7, rook e7. Again, the bishop is completely passive here. And here a nice little move to finish the game. King h2 and black resign. No reason to play knight e5 and allow some sort of counterplay with here and a check and rook d8 or something. Just put the king out of the way, and after for instance something like this, then this just wins. And you just follow up with rook e8 and so on, and very easy. You can also take the pawn, but there's no reason. You only need to win one pawn to win the game. So very clear, fine display of playing against one single piece here, the bishop on b6, that was just a spectator the whole game and a tactical weakness. This was a very nice game by Praggnanandhaa, and to be honest, it's not easy to win like this against a grandmaster. It's not something you just do. It's you have to. It's very easy not to win this way. I don't think I could have won this game as in this way against Mendonca. He put up a defense along the way where he was just finding his way easily, Praggnanandhaa. Anyway, this was DM Talks. I'm sorry we don't have that many videos at the moment. We hope it will be a little bit better, but the 3 to 4 videos a week that we once did is probably not coming back, but there will be coming videos forever. Don't worry about that. Thank you for watching, and remember to like and subscribe.